Right, anyway, a bit of good news. We have a scan booked tomorrow in Bristol. So we're going to be going there bright and early tomorrow morning. I will perhaps show you the clinic if there's any discrete bits that I can film without it being weird or there being any sort of confidentiality problems. And then we will probably spend the rest of the day wandering around Bristol. So I might give you a little tour of the trip to Bristol as well. But generally, that's really good news. So we're quite excited about that and quite excited that we're getting things moving again. Wish us luck. Good morning, it's 4 a.m. and I'm so tired that it actually physically hurts. My eyes, I don't know if you can see, but my eyes are watering slightly even. We're up this early because we're driving off to Bristol today. Today is the ultrasound scan, which is the first step for the third time on our fertility journey. So we drive up there, we have a fairly basic scan, I think. It usually takes about 30 to 60 seconds. And then we get to drive back again. It's about 3 hours journey in each direction. So it's quite a long day, but we're going to spend a bit of time in Bristol exploring. To be frank, it's a bit frustrating having to go for this scan again because we only went for one in Exeter, which we had to pay for as well, about less than a month ago. And that was for a similar sort of thing, but each clinic does insist that you start the scan from scratch, from fresh, just to, I guess, make sure that all the clinics weren't telling porcupines. So it's got to be done. Saying that, at least the clinic does allow us to carry through some previous results because it would have been quite a strain to have to do everything all over again from scratch. So I'm glad that we can at least take some of our previous results across. I don't know if it'll show particularly well in the video, but these roses came from the garden. They have to be those beautiful red roses that I have seen, and we've never been able to take a clipping and grow another rose bush from it. But that particular rose bush is absolutely amazing at this time of year. Here's the agenda for our drive. Well, 2 sips of coffee and I'm already starting to feel better, so that must be pure placebo. I've got some toast in the toaster, Tamsin's freshening up in the shower, and we are rapidly getting ready to depart. So I'd better go and pop some clothes on and I'll be back in a moment. Right, that's me ready to get going. I'm all dressed, I'm freshened up, my teeth are brushed, and I'm ready to face this big long drive with Tamsin. But before we go, can I just very quickly show you something which I find very exciting. I don't know how well you can see this, but these are my oyster mushrooms which are starting to grow. I'm growing them actually on shavings from a windowsill that I made, so recycling the wood there. They're about maybe 3 or perhaps even 4 centimetres tall at the moment. By the end of the day, you should already be able to see a difference in size. Anyway, I have a weird sort of parental pride towards these mushrooms, so I will take you through their growth and right up to the point that I chop them up. It's 5:30 in the morning and we are now properly into our journey. We haven't quite reached the first town yet. We're still about 125 miles away from the clinic, or just over 2 hours, about 2 hours and 10 minutes according to the sat nav. So the roads are nice and empty, the sun's coming up, it's pouring with rain, so it's a bit miserable, but hopefully we will have a nice clear journey, at least until we hit Bristol. just had our first service stop break. It's now 7:15 and the journey's going really well. We're coming into Bristol now, so the roads are getting much busier, as you can probably see. We've got just over 15 miles left until we reach the park and ride place, so I will see you again there. And we're here at the park and ride, typical city centre driving. The last mile was absolute carnage with an apocalyptic scene, cars smashed all over the place, horns beeping, that sort of thing. Anyway, over to the bus. That's the scan all done. I'll talk about that a bit later, but for now we're just wandering around Bristol. First of all, look at this really pretty waterfall fountain kind of thing that's going from behind me underneath my feet, and it goes down to the river which is just in front of me. Right now I'm wandering through a street food area. It feels like it should be about lunchtime because we got up so early, but it's actually only about 9 o'clock in the morning. So nothing's really open yet. I'm sure it gets busier during the day. Looking at all the places, it's a fantastic choice, especially if you live in a little sleepy village where there's really not a lot of options. There's probably more restaurants in this one little 200-metre walk than in the whole of the town where I live. However, on the other side, as you can see, they do actually have to chain the tables to the floor, which is something that we don't have to do where I live. Don't know if you can see in the distance, but over there's a seagull trying to build its nest on the top of a boat. It looks like he's struggling to find a really good spot, but there he goes. That's the first bit down. That's the second bit down. By the time the boat owner comes back, there's going to be a full nest on the roof. One of the exciting things in the city is all the cool and unusual shops. I've just been past an old-fashioned LP shop, and behind me is a late opening sustainable clothes shop. Behind me is the Courtyard Cafe, which I think is attached to the cathedral or possibly a castle. I'm not entirely sure, but I just thought I'd show it to you. It's the first place like this I've ever seen which has got a large plastic horse sticking out and making noises at me. Right, I've got to share this. Behind me there's an emergency eyelash dispenser. Who would have thought that that was something that might be needed? And then one of my favourite shops is behind. Let's have a look. You know how I said I was going to build a secret evil lair and have cats with lasers? I think I found just the place in Bristol to buy them. Tamsin's got us on the hunt for a vegan restaurant. I'm certain that we're in the right place. That's where we were, but this looks like it might be the right way now. And we finally found it. Now let's just have a little look inside and see if it looks okay. Right, we're in a nice seeming vegan and vegetarian cafe in Bristol called The Canteen. We've just ordered from the lunch menu, which sounds really nice. I've got myself a beer, we've got Tamsin a whole pint of apple juice, which is pretty exciting actually. I've got a vegetarian chili with rice and an egg on top, which is why it's not vegan, and she's got a mushroom with tarragon cream sauce and focaccia meal coming. So we'll see how they look when they come out. Behind me you can see the actual canteen bit. Just behind that to the side there's a good looking bar, and right on the other side of the camera, there is a stage which I'll try and pan around to. So it looks like they probably have music events and things on in the evening. At least that's what I guess. I don't think we'll be here in the evening to actually find out, but it sounds like a great thing. And this is Tamsin's mushroom focaccia, which looks really quite amazing actually. And then over to mine, the chili with the egg on top, which also looks pretty darn good. So yeah, let's tuck in. I'm about 2 mouthfuls in and I can already say this is actually really good. Of course, no video would be complete without a selfie from in the bathroom, and here I am. I kind of think all the graffiti is probably by design rather than actual vandalism. It's actually quite cool, but yeah, I'm impressed. And we're finally back home after what feels like the world's longest 3-hour drive. On the way back, I think we got stuck behind every lorry and tractor and caravan and you name it, travelling through Cornwall and Devon. But safe back home, so that's all that counts. The scan results felt a little bit deflating, but it's the first step. Well, for the third time, it's the first step again. So hopefully we've got something to work with and get the ball rolling again for a third time. Anyway, it was just the scans, so once we get more information, then we will know a little bit more. In the meantime, the exciting news is that the mushrooms have grown ever so slightly since we went out this morning, so I'll just show you those now. And here you can see a small handful of baby mushrooms growing, so a couple more days and they should be ready for picking. After that early start, we've both decided that we're far too tired to cook and that we really wanted takeaway pizza for dinner. So I've just tried to order a takeaway pizza, but it's an hour and a quarter waiting time for pizza for collection. So that's hideously busy, and if they're that rushed, I'm not sure how good the pizzas will even be. It's pretty much the only takeaway in town, so the choice is between that and, well, I guess I'm cooking. Just to add to the insult though, because we got an early night last night, I couldn't put the dishwasher on last night, so we don't have the pans that I need to make dinner. So that's a bit of extra frustration. I don't know if you can hear the dishwasher running in the background, but I'm hoping that it will be timed perfectly so that my favourite bowl comes out just as the pasta finishes boiling. But for now, that's me signing off from our day trip to Bristol. See you later. Hi everyone, I've not really had any chance to do any videos today. That's mostly because I've been really tired. The really long drive yesterday took it out of me quite a lot, and having to be up early for work and do a long day has been a bit exhausting. In fact, you can probably hear I'm slurring a little bit. That's just from tiredness. I've not been touching the alcohol yet. Although I might have a glass of wine later if I can find some in the house. That might be nice. I'm mainly videoing just now to give you the daily mushroom family update because the mushrooms have grown noticeably since I showed you yesterday. But just a quick insight first about why today was so gruelling. In fact, why every day is pretty gruelling at the moment. As I've mentioned before, the government and NHS England and all the other agencies beating us just for fun. And there seems to be a hope that if they keep beating us, eventually morale will improve. And these are the mushrooms today. And excitingly, there's some more mushrooms coming through below. And over to the next bag, there's also a couple of mushrooms coming through from this bag as well. So those are them in the really early stages. And in 2 or 3 days, they'll be as big as the other lot. And within the week they'll be huge. So about to make my favourite secret recipe for when I get home after 9 o'clock and I'm hungry. First ingredient is oatcakes. Then added to that is some mayonnaise, some assorted cheeses, a bit of chilli sauce, some balsamic vinegar, and paprika. just because I've got about half a kilo of paprika in the cupboard, so everything has paprika flavouring now. And that's my simple, delicious, yet nutritious dinner made. Ta-da! What fantastic cooking.